Danny boy. Queensland won. I'm on a perfect round, brother. I'm on a perfect round. Eels.
Come on, Bulldogs. Please, Bulldogs.
Nah, they ain't going to win, bro. They ain't
Please,
going to win.
Bulldogs. The Bulldogs!
At least Parramatta lost.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Rugby League Outlaws, brought to you by our great friends at Top Sport Tips, onelittlefootyfan.com.au and the Stubby Club. Don't forget to give them some love online.
Good week of football this
Dan.
week. Yes, Terry. It was a great week of football.
We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about State of Origin.
Let's talk about State of Origin. We owe it to you.
What a great game.
It was actually a really nice
actually
game,
a fantastic game of
I
footy.
can't argue with that. I'm going to argue with a lot of what you're about to say, but overall I think it was very entertaining.
Can I ask you one question before we go into the level of detail in the game?
Please.
Why can't NRL games be ref like that?
Different set of rules, unofficially.
Now, Ashley Klein refereed that State of Origin game that was played at an intensity much higher than any NRL game this year, and didn't give one offside penalty.
Fair call.
This week he gave 3 offside penalties.
Yeah, I've long been a fan of the way Origin's refereed. There's an unofficial set of rules that says, if it ain't like decapitation, it's play on. You know,
I've got to
I'm
say,
somewhere in the middle.
I've got to say that was a great game by Ashley Klein. It was ref perfectly.
I never thought I'd hear those words, but I absolutely 100% agree. The thing that bothered me, though, was Cameron Munster. Now, this bloke can wake up any given morning and decide he's going to be the best player in the world. And I hate it.
He can also wake up in the morning and go, you know what, it's Pap's job.
Yeah, not for me.
Not today, you know. But look,
I hate it so much.
fantastic game from Queensland. I don't think they went into this series as the rank underdogs like they did in 2020 when they won. Definite underdogs, though. I think the rule changes we saw really brought it back. No Turbo, no Latrell Mitchell. Dan, what changes are New South Wales making and why?
Look, Freddie Fittler's a hard man to work out. I think he makes changes for the sake of making changes. And, I'm not going to bag him because he's won a couple of titles as a player and a coach. So, I'm definitely not bagging Freddie Fittler. But this week, Daniel Tupou and Tony Staggs have both come out and said, we're not going to play Origin 2, we're going to play for Tonga. I don't think they were given a choice because they were amongst the lesser performers. Like, Tupou probably feels a little bit harsh because he was okay, but Josh Adokar has long been the best winger in the game. He's a player that can come in different form and just score you 3 tries, like he did for the Bulldogs against Parramatta this past weekend. Had to be there. Was really annoyed that he wasn't. So him out, Tupou out, Adokar in. I think that was going to happen anyways. Staggs out. He was probably the worst player on the field, not Nathan Cleary. In for me, obviously Stephen Crichton. Fantastic for the Panthers this past weekend. They're your obvious choices, and then of course you bring Nico Hines in on the bench. So there's your 3 quick switches. But for me though, Tarek Sims, the pre-game talk was he didn't deserve his spot. He did nothing to counter that. For me, you got to start Campbell.
I think before you go into the back line, and I think the back line's an easy fix for New South Wales, it's the forward pack. Liam Martin played 80 minutes of football and made 31 metres. Now, everyone said, okay, he defended really well. But so did Josh Jackson when they lost 9 series in 10. You can't just be a defender. Tarek Sims has been a fantastic Origin player, but has been. He's getting to that point now. There are 2 guys for New South Wales absolutely killing it. Kaleo Kolomatangi and Hulami Olukwatu. Those guys... Olukwatu on the weekend for Manly against West. 171 metres, 100 post-contact metres. Kolomatangi's stats were almost exactly the same. Don't bring in your Tyson Frizzels. Don't go to the old has-beens. Bring the new blood in.
Cam Murray comes in. Absolute. When he was dropped to the bench, I was pulling what little hair I've got left out. The other one, 100% took the words right out of my mouth. You pick one or the other. For me, it's Olukwatu. Yeah. But you couldn't go wrong either way.
I'd pick them both. I'd absolutely pick them both. I don't think Ryan Madison did anything wrong, but he's not as good as those guys at the moment.
I'm 100% fair with that. Now, Queensland, unfortunately, are going to miss a player, perhaps 2. Xavier Coates is out. Been ruled out. Who comes in?
Look, I don't want to do any of this, move Valentine Holmes to the wing and put Hammer or whatever. It's Corey Oates.
Yep, just straight swap.
Yeah, he's arguably in the best form he's ever been in. 27 years old, he's been there, he's won Origins. Corey Oates come straight in because you keep that aerial presence that you've got. He's still quick, he's still defensively sound. I'm picking Corey Oates.
Fair call.
The other one as well, under a little bit of a spotlight about the concussion, Kalen Ponga, I think he'll be all right.
If not,
it's Reece Walsh.
Easy as.
Yeah.
He played real well for the Warriors this past weekend, unfortunately.
Reece Walsh has been outstanding in a terrible team, a la Ben Hunt.
That's true.
I think that we've got to start with Ben Hunt at the 9 still, even though Harry Grant's going to be over his flu. The only other change maybe that could come in, Jaden Sewell is really good for the Dragons, but I don't think anyone deserved to lose their spot. One player who's definitely not getting back into this Origin team anytime soon is David Fifita.
Oh, yeah, he's not getting back in the Titans team, let alone the Origins.
Speaking of the Titans.
Why?
Dan.
Stop it.
You convinced everyone at the beginning of the year that they were a team on the rise, that AJ Brimson was going to take them to the promised land. They are dead last. Is there pressure on Justin Holbrook?
Absolutely there is. Not because they're playing bad, but because he's making me look silly.
Yeah.
But I've always said that you got to get worse before you get better. So they're definitely worse.
Cronulla did.
Yeah. So are they going to win the Premiership in 2 years?
No.
Absolutely not.
I do think Justin Holbrook will be sacked before the season.
Before next game.
Before next game? Hope not. We play him.
After the Sharks game.
After the Sharks game. Speaking of coaches, Cameron Ciraldo, Christian Wolf, they've been linked with jobs this week.
All the jobs.
Who's going where and why?
They're going to have their choice. Now, Gus Gould's come out and said that no one's applied for the job. I don't believe that. I don't buy into that for a second. If you said that these guys had to pick a job right now, the Bulldogs is head and shoulders above. The West Tigers are a rabble. I don't want any part. Brett Kamali can have that job for 10 years. I love the bloke. He's got a great football mind. He's not hiding to nothing. That Newcastle team, I think, is going to be up for grabs relatively soon.
Relatively soon.
A few good players. But even so, I'm coming back. The Bulldogs showed heaps on the weekend. They've got a squad that can do amazing things with a decent coach, and they've got 2 superstars incoming in Kikau and Marnie. So I'm thinking if they're one of them is looking over, thinking, it's time to go. So if they had to pick a job right now, I think the Bulldogs is the most attractive.
Yeah, look, it's been conjecture on Twitter. I've had a lot of discussions with Tigers fans who think that the Tigers' job is more appealing. They turn around saying, if you went to the Dogs, you'd have to work under Gus Gould. Well, if you went to the Tigers, you've got to work under Pascoe.
That's a problem.
Now, they're saying that Tim Sheens has got more say or whatever. That doesn't strike me as you'd want to go there. If you've got to bring someone else in to do the CEO's job for the CEO, what's the point of it? We know what Gus Gould's like. Look what he's done to Penrith.
Yeah.
The Tigers can turn around and say, they're getting a centre of excellence. At the end of the day, it's a gym.
It's a gym.
It's a gym. Cronulla's gym is about 30 metres long and about 10 metres wide.
Yeah, but it's excellent.
And it was built by Shane Flanagan and it was tiled by Shane Flanagan and Ben Pomeroy put the carpet down. But it's a gym. At the end of the day, it's a gym. Like, you go in there, you lift weights and you go out onto the field. I don't care about a centre of excellence if I'm a coach. I care about what you're doing out on the field. Now, you've got 9 home grounds. I don't think the Tigers is appealing. They turn around and go, but our junior base. Okay, your Harold Matt's team went well. Your SG Ball team went well. But now you've got to turn around and be in that job for 3 to 5 years and hope that a handful of these guys are going to come through and not get poached by the Panthers or the Eels or the Roosters or the Sharks.
The good sides, yeah.
And then, your Jersey Flegg team's average and your New South Wales Cup team's coming dead last. That's not filling me with confidence.
Apart from that, though, it's a really good option.
Yeah, the Dogs, I know they've been the wooden spooners last year. They probably will get the wooden spoon again this year.
Fine.
They probably will get the wooden spoon again this year. But Matt Burton's there. Josh Addo-Carr's there. Viliami Kikau's coming. Kyle Flanagan's in form. You've got Reid Marnie. You've got Tavita Pangai Jr. You've got Josh Jackson playing good footy. Luke Thompson's there. The squad is probably more appealing. Yes, Gus Gould's there, but you've got Tim Sheens, you've got Pascoe. I'm not going to the Titans at all, especially if I'm Ciraldo. Garth Brennan did it, and it was a failure. The Gold Coast is just destined for failure.
I might have to take over the Gold Coast.
Yeah, give it to the Walker brothers.
Yeah, I was going to say, the Walker brothers.
I think Christian Wolf is the coach who's coming back from the Super League. Go the Warriors, because you've had the affiliation with the Tongan team. Go to New Zealand.
Hey, absolutely.
Probably a good job for him there. If I'm Cameron Ciraldo, though, the most sought after assistant coach, I'm waiting.
Let's kick back,
If my options are the Gold Coast Titans, the New Zealand Warriors, the Canterbury Bulldogs and the West Tigers, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for either the Melbourne Storm job to come up and just walk into a nice cushy job. Newcastle's attractive because I've played there before.
It's fair call.
Or something else.
Just anything
else
not
apart
the
from that, yeah. But there's some good jobs there, and if I had to pick one, it's the Bulldogs head and shoulders.
100% agree.
Just finally now, Dan, we've skipped past the rep footy. We'll come back to it now. There's a debate. The World Cup at the end of the year. Who's steering the Kangaroos around the park?
Cam Munster and whoever he wants beside him has to be Daly Cherry-Evans.
Why?
Well, Nathan Cleary, for all his fantasticness against the below-average sides, and his stat line reads ridiculously good. Don't get me wrong. This is a superstar football player. One good game in his origin history. That doesn't scream must pick. Now, DCE is the incumbent, and he has that pre-existing relationship with Cam Munster, who is the first player picked in any side in the world. I don't care who's playing who. Cam Munster's your 6. You pick the 7 to suit him. DCE.
For mine, it's DCE as well. I know people are going to turn and go, oh, but he's the best. Nathan Cleary's the best halfback in the NRL. He is.
That's fine, yeah.
He's not the best halfback
It's
in
not
the
the
Origin.
NRL World Cup.
He's not the best halfback in the Origin arena. He'll be in the squad.
Oh, yeah.
This will be DCE's last World Cup. Let him take over it. Nathan Cleary can go and win the next one when he's proven that he can perform consistently in the rep arena.
Title's up.
Dan,
Talk to me, Terry.
we spoke about Cameron Ciraldo and where we think he might go. What does the guru think about the other coaches?
Hey boys, State of Origin 1, done and dusted. Queensland 1-0, a huge victory for the Maroons there. You can see it playing behind me. Pretty heartbreaking stuff for us New South Wales fans. It'll be interesting to see what changes Freddie makes. The Queensland Maroons, they'll only make one change, Xavier Coates out. I think you'll see Murray Tuolangi come in. As for New South Wales, God knows what they're going to do. It's going to be very entertaining to watch over the next couple of weeks. In other news, no, there's a bit of coaching movement in the NRL. 3 jobs up for grabs as it stands right now. You've got the Canterbury Bulldogs, the West Tigers and the New Zealand Warriors. The Warriors and the Tigers parting ways with their coaches on the same day last week. It was a crazy day in the NRL. Plenty of movement. The big question is, who will replace these guys? Now, at Canterbury, very interesting job. They've obviously got a heap of guys arriving next year. Reid, Marnie, Viliami, Kikau, a lot of big names arriving there. They've already got big names. They just aren't getting the W's on the board. So it'll be interesting to see which direction they go. Obviously, Shane Flanagan, he's considered to be the best guy on the market as far as a coaching job goes. I'm hearing that Phil Gould is a little bit hesitant to hand the keys to Team Flanagan. Obviously, wasn't picking Kyle at the start of the season, was very off him in the preseason as well. To now give his dad the coaching role and him be the starting halfback, I don't know. Doesn't really seem like a Phil Gould plan to me. So watch how that one unfolds. Over the West Tigers, they sacked Michael Maguire during the week. Now, my mail was 5 or 6 weeks ago that he was due to get sacked any minute. They then started to win games. Jackson Hastings came back, turned this side around. They started to look a little bit better. Personally, I don't think it mattered what Madge did over the next few weeks. I think his fate was already decided a number of weeks ago. And from what I've heard, Tigers officials were a little bit disappointed that he started to turn it around because they wanted him out of the building. Now, you look at Michael Maguire and the guys he signed recently. You've got guys like Appy Carousel. He obviously won a premiership with Appy at South Sydney a couple of years ago, so there is a connection there. Another guy, Isaiah Papali'i, a Kiwi, who's the coach of the New Zealand Kiwi side, is, of course, Michael Maguire. So there are a couple of links there. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. My mail 5 or 6 weeks ago was that he would be sacked, and then they started to turn it around. But when he was going to be sacked, the man that was going to replace him was going to be Ben Gardner, the assistant coach. He's a local teacher down here in South Sydney. He was meant to be the guy to take the job, and he was going to keep the seat warm for Todd Payton, which would be a very interesting get. You're still hearing those rumours around a little bit, but 6 or 7 weeks ago, they were very, very strong. But since then, the Cowboys have turned into a serious premiership threat, and I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get Todd Payton realistically. The new man in charge of the West Tigers is Tim Sheens. He's walked in the building over the last few months, and of course, what did Tim Sheens do in the lead up to 2005? He brought Toddy Payton. He was going to go to England. It looked like his NRL career was over. Tim Sheen says, a ball-playing forward like Todd Payten, I can do something with him. And he went on to play and win the 2005 Grand Final under Timmy Sheen. So there is a bit of history there. Whether they're able to tear him away from the Cowboys now remains to be seen. He is a Sydney boy originally, I believe, Todd Payten. So interesting times, plenty happening in rugby league. I'm not sure who's going to take that Warriors job. That could be absolutely anyone's. Keep an eye on all these spots that are moving around, and potentially you could see the Cowboys spot become available too. But if I was Todd Payten, I don't think I'd be leaving what I've built over there over the last 2 years.
Mate, I didn't see that coming.
No, look, he knows his stuff, so get on it. Now, Terry.
Talk to me, Dan.
It's been a fantastic week of rugby league, full of highs and lows. And this week, the highlight, which I'll hand over to you because I know this is a personal favourite of yours.
Yeah, the highlight this week is obviously Parramatta losing. Well, that cost me a perfect round.
We can't all get perfect rounds, Terry.
I know that, Daniel. But look, let's not take away the Bulldogs. Absolutely outstanding. Matt Burton, phenomenal. Josh Adokar wants that Origin spot back. Tavita Pangai Jr., Hetherington, they all stood up. Yeah, Paul Vaughan. I can't believe no NRL club wants it. I mean,
what are you doing, Cronulla?
I'll say no more on that, but fantastic for them. But Dan, the low light.
Brendan Aiden's tackle. Accident, yes. Dangerous, very. Send off every day of the week.
Absolutely. Now, I like the fact that people are saying, you know, and the charge sheet said that it would have been more if his arms were between his legs. To Aiden's credit, Jake Turbo doesn't run that hard. This is the first time in about 5 years he's taken a hard hit up. So Naden was just ready to put him on the ground, but momentum.
Rub his face in the dirt and stuff.
What I will say is that Naden apologised straight away, and I think he knew his fate was a sin bin and a stint on the sidelines. But at the end of the game, you saw Jake Turbo sound out Brent Naden and shake his hand again and put his arm around him and say, don't worry about it, it was an accident. I'm not hurt. And people saying that this shouldn't be a suspension or it shouldn't be a send-off because Jake Turbo got up straight away. What if he didn't? It was a bad tackle. Cop you 4 weeks, don't appeal it. On this, Felice Kafusi, where do you stand on the incident with him?
I think this is about the third or fourth time he's done this, and you can't accidentally elbow or forearm someone in the head when you've obviously made contact. They slowed it down, and he looked, and he cocked, and he threw. I was shocked that he wasn't penalised. Now, I don't think this is a send-off because it's not like he swung. He just fell and, you know, he knew what he was doing, put it that way. But I am surprised that he hasn't been given a couple of weeks.
Well, he has been charged and the Melbourne Storm are fighting it. Now, I'm going to go controversial. I've got more issue with the first forearm to the face when Sam Walker was in the air than I do with the one on the ground. Now, the one on the ground, I don't think there was intent in that. Whatever, his arm fell, he got him in the head. I do have a problem though with the runners these days as they're about to brace for contact, sticking their arm up in the air. We saw Nelson Asafa-Solomona do it to Dale Finucane. That's the issue that I have there. I've got no issue with the one on the ground. I don't think there was anything in that. It's the first forearm for me.
That is huge. Now, you're allowed to protect yourself here.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to do this. Solving all the problems. Terry.
Talk to me, Dan.
We have a guest.
Another guest.
A special guest.
I love our special guests.
Depending on how she does tonight, she may become a regular on the show.
Perfect.
Adding a bit of class, bit of style. One thing though, she's a Cowboys fan. Ooh. So, you know, it's going to be tough, but let's throw it over to Kate. No pressure, Cowboy.
Hi everyone, I'm Kate Cornish, also known as Cowboy Kate, and that's where you can find me on Twitter. If you haven't already guessed by my Twitter name, I'm a Cowboys fan. I live in Sydney and I'm excited to be on the pod talking about the best team in the NRL competition. Sorry boys, it isn't the Sharkies, it is 100% the North Queensland Cowboys. I have to say my face hurts from smiling because my team is better than all the other teams in the comp this year, which is ironic because you might remember that the experts tipped us for the wooden spoon this year. Delightfully, I can report with 10 wins and 4 losses, we've been able to tell those experts exactly where they can put that spoon. The Cowboys are sitting third on the ladder, and that win-to-loss ratio is as good as it was back in 2015 when we won our maiden Premiership. Thanks for that, Benny Hunt. In all seriousness, we've now won 4 games at home on the trot, and we've got the best defensive record in the comp, which is exciting as last year we were leaking tries like an old hose. We've unearthed some absolute gems as well, players like Jeremiah Nanai, Ruben Cotter and Griffin Neame, to name just a few. Nanai and Cotter, as well as Val Holmes, Murray Taulongi, and Tommy Dearden were part of the Queensland team who wiped the floor with the New South Wales Bluesers in Origin 1. Have to say it's my favourite time of year living in New South Wales and going for Queensland. It honestly triggers so many people. Now, Cotter was absolutely superb on debut, as was Nanai, who came back after suffering an ankle injury. And good old Val Holmes, well, didn't he turn back the clock to show us just why he's one of the best in the comp? So all is good up north. The tabloids have quietened down. They've got nothing to do except pick their jaws up off the floor each week as they feign shock and excitement that we've managed to win yet another game. This week we play the Sea Eagles at Brookvale, and if the team does not die from hypothermia, while it should be a great game, I'm confident that we'll get the chocolates over the Sea Eagles. We do unfortunately have some injuries that we've suffered over the last few weeks. Kyle Felt is still out with a knee injury, and sadly the club confirmed the news early this week that young Hilliam Lukey will miss the remainder of the season after he ruptured his ACL against the less than mighty Dragons. So that is really sad news because Lukey was having a cracker of a season. Lastly, I'd like to give a shout out to the North Queensland Gold Stars, who won the 2022 BMD Premiership the other week against the Central Queensland Capras. While it was great to see two regional teams battle it out, it was the Gold Stars who took the win 14-12 with a try that was literally scored on the buzzer to seal the match. It was all very reminiscent of Felty scoring that try against the Broncos in 2015 on the buzzer. It was an absolutely thrilling game. Now, the Cowboys have put a bid to have the Gold Stars enter the 2023 NRL comp. And let me tell you, if they do make it in, they're going to take the Premiership trophy home, no questions about it. I know the Sharkies have also put in a bid to have an NRL team, which is great. The more teams, the better. But the Gold Stars will be too good. And once that trophy makes its way to Townsville, it's going to need to start paying rent because it won't be leaving. Thanks for having me.
No, I don't like her.
Oh, I do. I think she's great.
No, me too.
Dan,
Talk to me, Terry.
time to talk some black, white and blue.
We're back in the winner's circle. How much better is rugby league when the Sharks play?
I mean, rugby league's okay when the Sharks play. It's f***ing glorious when they win, Daniel.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. What were your takeaways from the game?
The first 20 minutes, put it in the bin. Let's just in a vault, bury it underneath the ocean. Never want to speak of it again because it was diabolical. After that, though...
And at 20 minutes, we were down 12-10.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was.
It was disgusting. Cronulla were asleep. Apart from that opening, probably 13 to 14 minutes to be fair. We were pretty good. It wasn't vintage Cronulla. It didn't need to be. This was all about getting a win and get through unscathed. And I think in the end, it was pretty much business done.
It was business as usual for Cronulla in the first 12 minutes. Knock on, 2 6-agains, penalty, try, 6 again. We got some field position. Now, I think a couple of the 6-agains and one of the penalties were a bit stiffed on, but you don't expect much from the other Sutton brother or whatever. And you can't blame referees for your poor performance. Because once you start, if you're going to be in the ruck messing about, the referee's going to ping you for 4 or 5 minutes, you know. So it's up to us to be smarter. And once we were down 12-0. After that point in time, we won the game 38-4.
My issue is that when they were completing, they being the Warriors, of course, they were all over us. They started dropping the ball. Cronulla just ran over the top of them. As soon as we find momentum, we have it.
Yep.
And if there was no half-time, we win that game by 100 points. We were so much better. They come back after half-time and were the better side. They dropped the ball, we scored and remembered, wait a minute, we're a heaps better team than them. Now, our wingers, they cop so much grief.
I don't know why.
I don't know where it comes from. They're both right up there in terms of line breaks. I think Ronaldo's still leading the competition.
He is.
Sioni's in the top 5. They're both within the top few of try scorers. Now, you don't want one player scoring 25 and your next scoring 7, because if that one player goes, you're in trouble. We got 2 players that are on about 12 or 13 now. That's perfect.
Yeah, Ronaldo's got 11, Sioni's got 10.
That's fantastic.
That is, and then if you have a look at someone like Talakai, who's now crossed for his 7th try, Will Kennedy scored a try, Jesse Ramian, you know.
Spot on. You want them scored by all of them.
Across the board, you're absolutely right there. Now, obviously, the big thing that's going to come away from this is Nicho Hines' goal kicking. You take that away, his kicking game in this, again, it was very much like the Titans' performance. Kicking early, turning him around. I know some of the kicks didn't come off or they weren't the best kicks or whatever. I don't know what the conditions were like there. I wasn't at the game. But you want those early kicks. Turn the forwards around when they're a big pack. They are a big pack. you're right. If we don't have momentum in there, we don't know what we look like we're doing. We're really missing Dale Finucane's leadership.
Hugely. Missing a big body in the middle too. I think Hanlon Ueli's loss has been really strongly felt. I want to point out, though, our boy, young Matt Moylan, hail the great man. He was our best player on field.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or if not, definitely in the top 2 or 3. He wants that contract, and you know what? Every week he plays like that, I'm edging closer to giving it to him.
I'm not giving him 2 years. Let's pin that now.
We'll see how it goes, but
it was
very good.
It was a game where we had to run. I did fins up this week by myself, and I nailed all the points on there. Fear the bounce back. Should put 30 on him. Dallin Martinez-Zelezniak will score a try. We have to win this game. Big game against the Titans. We have to win that. And then we've got the Dogs. You win those games there, you've basically got yourself a semi-final position.
It's in
Granola's hands.
Do you fear the Titans this weekend?
No, I fear a butterfly.
Fair call.
Dan,
Talk to me, Terry.
it's time for some top sport tips.
My favourite time of the week. Now I'm going to try something controversial this week and actually tip well for it.
Good on you, man. I nearly got a perfect round. It wasn't a perfect round.
Almost a perfect round, Terry.
But, I mean, I'm lining people's pockets.
That's true.
I am lining the people's pockets. I lined your brother's pockets as well. He cashed out, not my fault. Let's start with some Thursday night footy, though. This is going to be a cracking game. This is Charity Shield, round 3. It's 1 apiece. Winner takes all. Dragons and the Rabbits. Think this game's at Cogra? Don't care. Who's winning at Dan and why?
Controversially, the Dragons. And why, you ask?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know why you picked the Dragons.
Moses Sully, he's good.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Ben Hunt, he's playing all right footy
He's
as well.
all right.
I want to go the Rabbits in this one. I think that the Rabbits pack has got way too much. Alex Johnson started scoring tries now. They've learned. Lachlan Ilias has learned to play with Cody Walker. Blake Taft's in form. Damien Cook's in form.
The Bunnies win and lose, it's just random. I'm tipping little brother.
Yeah, tip little brother.
Very little brother.
I'm going to tip the Rabbits. 6 o'clock, Friday afternoon. This is a cracking game of footy. This was obviously picked at 6 o'clock at the beginning of the year because they thought Manly were going to trounce the Cowboys. How the turntables have turned.
They certainly have turned. Out at Asbestos Stadium, we've got the travelling Cowboys. Dare I say everyone's second?
No, absolutely not.
I'm
Chad
tipping
Townsend
them.
plays for them.
No. Cowboys for me.
You're going to tip the
I'm going
Cowboys?
to tip the Cowboys.
I'm going to go against you. I'm going to pick Manly.
Ooh.
I love the form that Ruben Garrick's in. Ola Kawatu, I think Manly's pack's playing really well. Cherry Evans coming back into the team. I'm going to pick Manly in this one in the close game.
Manly are a great side, but they don't have Scott Drinkwater.
Friday night, this is the game. This is the game. It's the Storm against the Broncos.
Oh, yeah, this is the game. Unfortunately, it's like the Broncos Queensland Cup team due to injuries. But
no Herbie Farmworth, no Payne Haas, maybe no Adam Reynolds.
No Reynolds, no Party. Storm for me. But it's Storm by 1,000. I'm trying to create intensity, but it's just not working.
Pappenhausen may be back, probably not, but they'll still
They
win.
don't need him.
Yeah, Cam Munster
Big
will.
meanie season.
Cam Munster will run this show. Now, speaking of running the show, the Cronulla Sharks take on the Gold Coast Titans. Now, this game is up in Coffs Harbour, our second home.
Home away from home. This would be a fun contest, actually.
Yeah,
Plenty of our mates are heading up.
Why are the Sharks winning this game?
They're not.
Okay.
The Titans are going to win. Jinx. They haven't won all year, so watch them this year. But you know what? We won't make Dan look like a fool, and then we'll beat his beloved Sharks.
I'm going to pick Cronulla to win this game and win it comfortably.
AJ Brimson's back, though.
So?
State the facts. People here for my information, mate.
Your information's really bad on AJ Brimson. I'm going to pick Cronulla by 13 plus in this game. 5:30 Saturday afternoon is part of our Super Saturday. After the Sharks have won, you get to watch New Zealand take on the Panthers at Moreton Stadium, home of the mighty The.
The mighty The.
This game couldn't come at a worse time for the Warriors.
Oh, this is some bad memories.
They're getting ready to go back home, and your last memory of Australia is the Panthers.
They're very likely to cop 60 here. Now, I don't like watching teams get flogged unless it's the Tigers. This game's going to hurt. And you can be forgiven for having an eye back home. A week, let's just get through this game. Let's just not get injured. We can run out in our home turf. What's a forfeit worth? 99 points. Take it.
I'm almost with you on that one. I think this could be 50, 60 points, especially the way that the Warriors leaked against the Sharks, and they just when they turned it over, they just turned it over. I don't know how the Panthers in this one blowout.
Panthers 30 plus.
And to finish off your Super Saturday, it's a cracking game. Parramatta Eels against the Roosters, two teams. Now the Roosters lost a game that they probably should have won, and the Eels definitely lost a game that they should have won. How are you seeing this game go?
Well, for one team, that team being the Tricolours. Parramatta are done and dusted as far as I'm concerned. It doesn't matter if you beat Penrith, if you turn around and lose to the Tigers and the Bulldogs, can't take it seriously anymore.
I would have tipped the Roosters, but Luke Keary's concussion sends the game back in the Eels' favour for mine. Look, Mitch Moses has been one of the most outstanding players in the competition this year. He had an absolute shocker, got hammered over the line when he should have scored a try. The Eels have got no positives to take out of that Dogs game, so they can literally just erase it from the memory bank. I'm going to pick the Eels to win this game.
Chooks for me.
Start of your Sunday afternoon. Not a bad game down in the nation's capital. 2 o'clock, it's the Raiders versus the Knights. Now, the Knights season is over.
Gornskis.
It is over. It is done and dusted. There's not much more to say about it. The Raiders, as we said last week, were knocking on the door. We both picked the Broncos to shut it. I think they win this game and win it well to be knocking on the door again of the top 8.
Yeah, they are in the top 8 teams as far as I'm concerned. They're better than a lot of teams above them. It's going to be cold, and it's going to be a wretched afternoon for Newcastle. They're going down minus almost certainly without Callum Ponga. It'll be interesting because they got 22,000 people there, which, so the Red and Blues, they support their team. This is a trip that I probably wouldn't take because it's going to end terribly. Canberra by plenty.
6-hour trip to watch a team lose by 20 to 30 points in cold, miserable
20
Canberra.
20 points per every hour.
And to wrap up the league, now this is a game I probably would have laughed at in the past. The Dogs just pants the Eels. The Tigers coming off a bad loss against Manly. They're in terrible form. The Dogs,
Could go well. West Tigers have played really well 2 first halves in a row now. It's the second half that's a problem. The Bulldogs have played terribly all season, but came out and, like I said, pants Parramatta. This is going to be fun. I'm going to tip the Doggies to keep it going and win 2 games in a row for the first time in 30 years.
I'm going to tip the Tigers with no confidence in this. What I will say is that the Dogs win against Parramatta means nothing if they don't beat the Tigers, but I think the Tigers are going to get them.
Must win.
For both teams. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Rugby League Outlaws, brought to you by Punctured Media, our great friends at Top Sport, onelittlefootyfan.com.au and the Stubby Club. Also our special guests as well, we never throw out to them. Guru, Kate, make sure you like and subscribe to everyone. Give everybody some love out there. Except for Dan and I. Make sure you continue to trash us, get online, give us a rub and whatever. Or give us some love.
Whatever you feel like. I still think the Titans can make the 8.
Rugby League, baby.